Hello and welcome to another BlenderWiz video tutorial. This is the second video in the 1957 Ford Thunderbird series. In this tutorial we will be fixing parts of the hood scoop and working on the rest of the front end of the car. Okay, so first, I don't really like this hood scoop. It's too big and it doesn't look that great. If we go into front view mode, let me hide the car, or the model. So far, we see that the hood scoop is actually not that prominent. It's pretty small. Unfortunately, the side view and the front view don't line up at all on this. So I definitely prefer the look of the front view to the look of the side view. So let's go ahead and work on that a bit. Next, since we have our front view kind of lined up, I don't really want to move this one around because, as you can probably see, these lines don't line up with our current hood at all, and the side view mode and the front view mode just don't work. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to load in the front view image again, but this is going to be kind of our throwaway image, so let's go ahead and fit that now. But this will be throwaway, so we can just slide it around as we need, just to give us kind of an idea of what it looks like. So I'm going to hide our original one, and I'm just going to pull this up along the y-axis. And I'm basically just going to try to line some of this stuff up. So the base of the scoop should kind of line up with the base of the front view scoop. Next, let's go ahead and actually just delete the whole thing. That's basically what I want to do. It's the easiest thing that we can do. I'm going to hide the subsurf so that we don't have anything in our way. And I'm just going to go through here and just delete all of those vertices. Just like that. Next, I actually want to get rid of these loop cuts. So take these two, hit delete and edge loop. And I'm going to do the same for, not that one, but this one. Delete that edge loop, save that. Okay. So now we're actually going to start modeling the hood scoop itself so that we can get some nice looks from it. So I'm just going to take our vertex, maybe drag it to right about here, and then just kind of outline. I'm going to start with a very simple outline, and we'll just slowly add some vertices in where we need them, so that we can start with a fairly simple mesh. So that's pretty simple. It's just a two-dimensional outline, completely flat, and it'll do what we want. So then I'm also going to kind of outline the inside portions. So just like that. And what you want to do is you want to kind of keep the number of vertices even so that we can just go across and add in those cross pieces right there. I mean, we could actually fill those in with n-gons, but you don't really have that much control with them, so I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to pull this one across, maybe put in a new subdivision right there, and that should be what we need. It's pretty simple actually. So now what we need to do is, if we look at it from side view, we have a floating image. That's because that's all views. Let's set that to front view only. There we go. We see that our new hood scoop thing is completely flat, which is not that ideal for what we want to do. We want to rotate this, but not rotate it, because if we rotate the object here, we'll see from top view mode, if we rotate it from the X, it changes, and we don't want to do that either. What we want to do is we actually want to use what's called shear. So shear, I hit space and then typed shear, and the hotkey is Shift Control Alt S. It's a bit long. I find that typing shear is a lot easier, so I'm just going to do that, and then hit Y, and then we can just try to find the cursor. There we go. And we can just rotate that as we need, or actually we can shear it as we need, because if you look from top view mode now, you'll notice that even though we've turned it in top view mode, it hasn't changed. It's only changed along the y-axis, or along the x-axis, sorry. So I'm going to do that again and try to line things up a bit more. So I'm doing shear and then hitting Y, and then we're just going to drag that up like so. And then let's do maybe one more time like that. Okay, so that's looking pretty decent. I think our hood's up a bit higher than I want. We may need to do some more work on the hood itself, because I'm not really liking how it looks. So we may have to delete more of the hood than what we've got right here. Let's get rid of those. There we go. Okay, we're basically starting from square one, but it will come out a bit better this time. So let's go ahead and actually outline most of this hood again. So let's start there in the center. Turn off clipping so that we can actually move stuff around. There we go. I'm gonna do multiple there. Pull that back. We'll do some more subdivisions in there. I think subdivide there. Basically just get a simple outline. Let's turn clipping back on. Get a simple outline that's pretty easy to work with, and then we will try to fill things in more and put in more detail as we go. Okay, so now I don't really like this piece either. Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much going to just replace the entire hood. So let's go ahead and throw in a subdivision there, line that up, and of course we need to shear that. So hit Control L with one of the vertices selected on there, and then hit shear and then Y. Yeah, there we go. Let's bring that up. And if we just transform these vertices along the z-axis, it will do basically the same thing as the shear, so you don't have to worry about damaging it in the top, just as long as you are only transforming along the z and not along the x or y. So let's go ahead and start actually making this fit. Something more like that might be a bit better. Okay, let's see how this one sits. Yeah, well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lower these vertices a little bit, because this dotted line is actually kind of the center, the highest point on the vehicle. So having these edges over here be on that line wouldn't be very good, because it's too high. So let's go ahead and lower these just a smidge. They don't have to be too low, but they obviously shouldn't be at the highest point either. So I'm just going to bring this one up. There we go, because it's more toward the center. And then we can kind of bring these across and work from them. So I'm going to SX0 just to line them up. There we go. And just line that up like so. I'm going to fill that in. Now I don't want to keep faces around. Just for right now, I just want to get a nice kind of an outline of what's going on. Actually, what we may want to do before dragging those across is actually create an inner loop. So let's delete those edges. There we go. So we want to create a loop kind of around the outline here so that it protects the shape. So as we're working, it will keep it from damaging the shape here, and it gives us a bit more control over what's going on in the model. It's just something that should be done. Excuse me. Okay, so let's just kind of pull these out. Okay. With background image, it can be a little bit difficult to see what's going on. If you need to, you can just turn off, I guess it's top view mode. There we go. You can turn that off because we've pretty well outlined what we need to outline. Just don't go too close to the scoop. So I'm just gonna go around these. Nope, not like that. Nope, only two. There we go. And while we can't use the edge selection techniques, because if we do, I think it's Shift and Alt, it selects everything. Keeping it in wireframe allows us to see more of what's going on, which is why I like it. Because if I hit Z now to switch from wireframe view, you can see here where I actually have faces. You can't see if you had the background image on, but by leaving it in top view or in solid view and having this on, it doesn't matter if it's in wireframe or not. It's just a bit easier to see, if that makes any sense. Okay, so let's go ahead now and actually start pulling this across. I don't want to go all the way, just about to there. Nope. There we go. And let's see side view. Come on. There we go. And I want to go up about halfway, because that's about the halfway, or quarter way, I guess. But it's about halfway through to the highest point. And then one more. So let's just pull that along the X, and pull that all the way up to max. We might want to pull that up a bit more so that we get a nice curve. Okay. Something like that. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. I may want to pull these ones up a bit, just a tad, so that this isn't a flat piece right there. Okay. And I'm gonna delete these because I don't want to see faces right now. Okay, so we're starting to get something. So let's go ahead and subdivide those two. Subdivide, subdivide. I'm gonna put in a face right there. And if you hit, I think it's Control Tab and then hold down Shift and click Edges, you can actually select two different selection types. So right now I can select edges or single vertices, and that makes it a bit faster to work around. You can also hold down Shift and click these buttons, and if we had any faces here, we could then select those as well. But we don't, so I'm just going to leave that off. Also, I find that it's a bit harder to control with that turned on. With all three turned on, sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and condense these three into one, and then I guess we'll figure out where to go from there. I mean, we could pull it out to here, pull that to there. That might work. That might be what we're going to do. Because then it'll look like just a normal face, and that's probably how the Ngon would draw it. Now what we should probably do is outline where the hood scoop is going to be. So we've already sheared that. So it's okay. So once everything looks like it's lining up, let's go ahead and turn on the top view background image so that we can see what we're working on here. And let's just pull these out. And just like before, with this edge right here, we're just creating a nice kind of a buffer between, I don't know if I want that vertex there, because we can use this one. There we go. We're just creating a buffer between the between the detail and the rest of the mesh, so that way we can just keep things a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to work on. So let's bring that over, bring that down and around. Okay, so that's starting to get there. We should bring this forward a bit more. Okay, bring that over. Now this needs to come down because it's not in line with anything. So let's bring that down. Just like that. And since we've got another loop or another subdivision right there, we should probably put that in these guys as well. Just that way so we can have everything line up nicely. And then we can use triangles to close up the rest. Okay, so I guess now we should just go ahead and pull this back and make, no, not yet. What we should do before we do that is actually lift this intersection up so that it's where it needs to be. So let's do that part now, actually. Yeah. Not you. I'm going to turn off the edge selection mode and just have not edge selection mode, vertex mode. There we go. Now we don't want to go use that too much. Instead, let's pull this one up. I'm going to put the front center vertex right on the front center piece right there, and then we will use the Shift Y control, or the shear, not Shift Y, shear and then Y, and just pull that down. Let's keep that lined up a bit. It's right about there. And just keep doing that until we get something that kind of matches the contours of this. And let's try to keep that all lined up. Let's see, shear, Y, maybe it's X. Can't do anything. Ah! Shear, Y. I think those have to be a bit closer. There we go. And really we just need to get these to look so that they aren't out of place. And I'm going to bring this one down a little bit more. Okay, so that's not looking too massive as it was before. I still want to bring this down a bit though, just to kind of smooth things out a bit more and make it not so massive. And I'm going to bring this one up. There we go. So that's looking pretty decent now. Oops, there we go. So we need to take these and just bring them across. Fairly simple. And we'll make a little spider web here. And I guess we'll just terminate that right there, so we'll just bring this one across. And then we'll use a smooth operation on this to smooth everything out so it's not so crisscrossy, and it'll smooth out the mesh. So just go across here, let's fill that out, and there we go. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna hit Alt-O, turn on proportional editing, and make that much smaller because I want to lift this a little bit. There we go. Okay, so there we go. That's looking pretty good. Now what we really need to do is actually connect this to the rest of the mesh. I'm gonna start filling in those faces though that are up here, because we're not going to be working on that anymore, so it's okay if we do that. And that'll just give us an idea of what it really is going to start looking like. So that's not looking too bad. Okay, so that's pretty good. We can do that little buffer loop around there, and then we can start working on the rest. So if we turn on that subdivision, again, that looks pretty good. We may need to put on some mean creases and other creases, but it's looking fine. Looking good for now. Okay, one more thing we should probably think about doing is turning off this proportional editing, and this actually comes in here kind of like that. It's a tricky shape. I don't really enjoy this that much, this part. I'm going to turn off our fronts. Yeah, this is a pretty tricky shape, so I'm going to go ahead and hide this whole back end. Okay. And we're going to go like so, and just try to line everything up. And then we have to pull this one back along the Y, because eventually this shape needs to be, I guess, plumb? Maybe not. I don't know what that is. I don't know what we're trying to get it to be, but we need this to be more or less flat along the Z or the Y, one of those. And so there we go. We can start filling that in, I think. And that's a bit thin, so I'm going to bring that down a bit along the Z. Okay. And just get that to kind of how you like it. The blueprint, or the background image, it's not too helpful on this part. So it gives you pretty much complete liberty as to what you want to do with it. So have fun with it and get something that looks good. That's really all I can tell you. Okay, so that shape looks like it's starting to take place. And there we go. So let's go ahead and start connecting these. Okay. Boom. Gonna connect that into there. That one into there, I guess. And then I guess we have a triangle here. Triangle here. I used to not like triangles, and then triangles became helpful. Let's see what it looks like with subsurf, just to make sure that those triangles aren't screwing things up. They don't appear to be. And okay, so over here what we got are some weird normals. So let's go ahead and look at what the normals are doing. By turning on the display, so be tabbed into edit mode and turn on, under display, turn on normals, and you get this kind of blue spiky mohawk thing going on. And what this is, that's the direction of the normals. Whichever way the blue lines are going are the normals, or which way the face thinks it's facing. This one happens to be very much wrong. The faces are all facing the wrong direction, except for these ones, and that is why we're getting this weird black line, because suddenly the face is looking the exact opposite direction. So let's go ahead and recalculate that by pressing recalculate under the shading/UVs menu. I'm using Blender 2.7.1 right now. And by clicking recalculate, it will figure out which direction these need to face. Right now it looks like it did a pretty good job. Sometimes it won't. If it didn't, let's pretend, for example, this one is still being weird, and it's got a thing going the wrong direction. All you do is select that face, click flip direction, and there you go. So I'm gonna hide that subsurf. We can leave the other thing on, the smooth shading, because that's not gonna screw anything up. Let's see. There's still too many vertices in there. I don't like that. I guess we can just add a little bit more topology in there. Yeah. Okay. So that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and fill the rest of this stuff in. And we gotta connect this one. Okay. So now it's pretty simple. Just go ahead and start filling in these shapes. It gets a little bit weird in here. So, I mean, we can do what we did up in this corner and should be able to get away with that pretty easily. So let's turn on smooth again, and it looks like we've got some funny normals again. Yay! So just take that, flip the direction, and there you go. And now, I think, there we go. No, we can't just do that. So if we hold down Shift and Alt, and then Shift and Alt on the inside there, we get two what are called edge loops. Nope. Let's see. So if we deselect these inner ones here, we can use a nifty tool that will bridge the edge loops. And it works quite well, so I want to use that. It's a little bit faster than selecting everything and inserting faces. So just type bridge edge loops, and there you go. So there is our hood all fixed up, and now that I've basically gone over and done exactly what we've already done, we can actually get started on new stuff. But we should actually go ahead and sharpen up some of these lines first. So this one, I want to sharpen that up. Hit Shift, I think E, yeah. Hit Shift E, and that will allow you to click and drag and increase the crease, and that just sharpens some stuff up. So let's go inside of here, this one, maybe this one, and then hit Shift E, and you can see it sharpened that up. Let's do the same to this one, so Shift E, close that, and then Shift E, And that's not quite cleaning up how I want. I don't like this face and how that's sitting. Let's delete that. There we go. And by having that terminate in a triangle, we can actually do a pretty cool thing. It makes it a lot easier for us to work because it just kills the topology right there, because we don't want those extra edges coming down and into our hood. So there we go. That cleaned up pretty well. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna hide those normals because they're in the way. Okay. And I mean, we can pull these ones back along the Y a little bit. And I don't like that one quite as much. And I mean, yeah, that looks pretty good. One last thing that we should probably do, since I'm actually revising this tutorial, the original one got damaged by the video encoder, so this part will be covered in number 3 at the very start, so you can probably skip through that a little bit more, but we're going to give this hood a little bit of depth. Oops, there we go. So all you do is take that edge loop here, this guy there, and extrude it down along the Z, and then create a little an extra one just so that we can control how big that bevel is. And that gives you some depth. Okay, so the next bit that we're going to work on is the fenders. The fenders in this whole kind of front section. Okay, so the main thing that we have to get right here is actually just the headlight. Once we get that circle all working and looking right, we can pretty well do whatever else we want. So the hood is a little bit higher. I like this headlight being a little bit higher than the current. Actually, nah, it should be okay with the current height. Forget that. Let's actually turn on the original, maybe. Nah. Let's put the circle right here. And I'm only going to do about 8 vertices on that. First, we should turn off clipping, because if we don't, when we go to scale the circle, it won't come on these vertices over here. And we don't want that. So anyway, let's go ahead and add a circle and set that to 8 vertices. Then let's rotate along the X by 90 degrees and scale it down. Okay, try to line that up with that hole as best you can, and actually go for the outer hole. There we go. Something like that. Okay. And then we should probably go into top view mode and try to line that up, at least with that part there. Since we are using our throwaway front, we should probably try actually lining the front up with the top view, because that one's a bit more useful, and as you can see, they're not close at all. So I'm just going to take this front view that we've got here and just slide that over. Hold down Shift so that you can get a little bit more control and get that all lined up nicely. So that should be good. I'm going to rename the circle. I'm going to call it body. Okay. Next, I want to take our 3D cursor, center it there, and then with our circle selected, hold down Control, Alt, Shift, and then press C. And then do Origin to 3D cursor. Yeah, okay. So now that's centered at what's pretty well the center of the car. Let's go ahead, we can add a Mirror Modifier now, and that'll let that circle show up over there. So there is our headlight main circle thing there. We can pull that back a little bit. And it's actually fairly simple. What we're going to do is we're going to take the top side over here, and maybe not that one. Let's take that one as well. The whole top half, and just extrude that back. Just pull it back along the Y. Very simple. Then we can actually just pull it out over here, and pull it out right about to there. So it's actually, most of the work is right there. Then we can pull it up along the Z. We're going to scale and clean that up more, but most of the work right there has already been done. Now I'm going to move the cursor here to the top of the back and then hit period, and what that does is it actually changes the pivot point. By default it's set to median point. By setting it or hitting period, we've turned it to the 3D cursor. So now when we go and select a vertex here that's not at the 3D cursor and we hit S, it actually scales into that point. So let's demonstrate that a bit more. So it always will go to that 3D point, or we can actually rotate around the 3D cursor. It's quite a useful feature. So now what I want to do is take these guys and scale them up along the Z toward our 3D cursor. Okay, and that should be okay. And then let's actually scale it along the X. So it's something like that, and we may actually want to just pull this one up. And then to get back to normal, hit Control and comma, or you can come down to this menu and hit median point. Either way, it will still work fine. Okay, so that is actually the main way of getting the fender. Very simple, very easy to do. Now we want to get the outline of our hood. So take the edge here that we've created, hit Shift D, and then click P, or not click, but press P, and that will separate that piece that we just duplicated from the original mesh. Now I want to do is take this ring that we created and select our new fender body thing and hit Control J, and that will just make it all one object. So now when we tab into edit mode, we can actually just see that it's all one object, and we can keep working from there. Okay, so what we want to start doing is actually going through and connecting these pieces here with this piece here. So what we're going to do, it's not too difficult. I'm going to take the lower two rings and hide them, and then take basically the horizontal component of our piece here and figure out how many loop cuts we need to put into this fender to make it work. And this says that the magic number is 6. I'm going to go with 7, and yeah, that should work fine. So let's do 7. So scroll up 7 times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I'm going to go, there we go. Let's take these guys and we'll just move them along and move them where they need to be. I'm going to turn off top view mode because I just want to see the vertices. So by double tapping G, we can do an edge slide. Sometimes we get some weird effects, but usually we can figure out how to make it work right. So I'm going to move that up to there, deselect it. Let's deselect edge selection mode. Whoops. There we go. Pull that there. Deselect those ones. Make sure that we don't have anything that we don't want. Pull those along right about to there. Deselect them. Oops. It's a bit tricky sometimes to get that to work quite how you're expecting, but once you do, it's quite a useful tool. There we go. And there. That maybe I'll pull that forward a little bit more. There, right about there. That looks pretty sweet. So let's go ahead and start just connecting these and see how that comes out. So that's starting to look quite a bit better. And by adding all of this topology right there, it's actually going to help us out because we need to put this up and over the wheel well. And so by adding all these vertices, it just gives us more to work with. Okay, so let's keep going with that. Yeah, this'll work. This'll work. At least I think it will. You always kind of hope that it'll work, right? And sometimes it doesn't work the same way as you're expecting. I mean, I've done this a few times now. So, yeah, I guess that'll work. I'm gonna move that up. I hit Control 1, and that just added a subsurf modifier. Then I moved it up 1 in the stack. We can turn it up and down. Doesn't matter. So that's what we got so far. I'm trying to decide how to go about with this whole piece right in here. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to take and continue this loop down and around, down and kind of around, and then throw it up over the wheel well. And so we can just keep this nice body line right through here. But I'm trying to figure out how to do that nicely, because we also have to have it branch off and come over this way so that it will protect our edge right here. So, maybe if we throw in an edge loop right there, we can get this done a little bit more easily. So let's go ahead and finish this one off here. So I'm just going to bring these guys around, turn on clipping, there we go, and of course that's way too high, so we need to bring this down. Something like that should be okay. Okay, and then let's connect those vertices. And then, if we bring this down along the Y, this line will actually continue, and we can bring it down and around. And I think that'll work okay. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. Yeah. Oops. We have kind of a weird split going on right here, and I'm not really too fond of it. What are you doing? Weird. Oh. Well, by moving the mirror up in the stack, it works a little bit better. There we go. So that's pretty good. And then I guess we should just finish up this top part right here. So bring that around. Let's do that, and then one right there. It's a bit far out. Connect those. That's really low. Let's pull that up. And maybe a bit more up. That sticks out pretty high next to that fender, but it'll be good. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's go back to tackling our little issue down here. It's an interesting shape. If you get discouraged, don't fret. It's not that easy. I think I'll continue it. Hey, there you go. I'll continue it from this point. It's not really the nicest body line, but I think it will give us the best results. So I'm going to pull this down, pull it out along the Y maybe. Yeah, okay. Let's connect that and see what it actually looks like. So it takes this body line and kind of slides it down to this vertex, which is exactly what we want. That's perfect. So I'm going to take this and just loop it under the headlight, like so. And I'm not putting this extra crease around the headlight. If we look here, you'll notice that I told you to bring it to the second ring instead of the first ring, and this is exactly for that reason, because we will actually hit E and then extrude that in later. Don't do that now. And that will create the inner ring, or the actual sharp edge. So it's just trying to save you guys a step. So there we go. That's looking pretty good. Let's start taking that and actually flipping it up and over the wheel well here. So I want to continue it. We could have it crash in right here and just have it finish. I don't really want to have it loop over like that. That's a disgusting loop. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pull this out like so. And that'll actually give us more topology and more vertices to work with. So that's never a bad thing, right? Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that's out. That's good. Let's connect those, see what it looks like. Yeah, that'll work. That will do. Okay, I don't really like how this flips out. Well, that fixed it. Cool. Much better. And then we can just build back and keep going. So really we just take this whole thing. Let's build the wheel well first. So I'm going to take this top vertex right here, hit, and just Shift D to duplicate it, bring it down, and let's just model out the outline here, just like that. And you don't actually have to get that sharp because there's a wheel flare that goes over the top of that, and we can give it a much nicer look very, very easily. So there we go. Pretty good. Good to go. And maybe I want to bring this up along the Z a little bit more. I don't know. So many options. So we could probably just get rid of that loop, just terminate it right there, and have it end finally. Yeah, that might be best. Yeah, okay. We'll do that. And what I forgot to do... my bad. Yeah, it's a bit complicated. So I'm double tapping G and just gonna bring that up. Let's bring that up. Yep. Just like that. Okay. So delete that face. Let's delete those faces. We need to re-add those vertices. So, boom. Where's the other one? There we go. Okay. So that's looking okay. And now what we need to do is we actually need to put that protection loop around. So that shape protecting edge down at the bottom. If you want, probably the best way of doing this is to just put this at kind of a 45, or split the difference between completely flat there or completely flat along this edge. And if you split it right there, we can bring this out and that edge can continue nicely. So I'll just leave that there. And I mean, we can connect all these now. So, and I'm just building the wireframe because I want to still be able to see the the underlying, the image there. So, yeah. Yeah, okay. And if we hit Alt-M, that can connect up there. Then we can just bring this one up and over. And then our edge loop can keep going. Okay. And, I don't really want it to come down along this, so I'm going to split it off and just keep it going back. And really this whole Fender panel right here, it's pretty flat. And so, I mean, we can just pretty well just take this whole back piece right here and then just extrude along the Y all the way back to there. And I'm gonna bring that back further. Okay. And of course we get some crazy looking normals going on. So let's see who's actually working properly. So these top guys are working properly, the bottom one is being a weirdo. So let's flip that direction, and now everything looks fine. I'm gonna turn off the normal view. That's looking pretty clean, so I feel pretty safe going up and over and around now. So let's connect all of these guys. We've got some normal issue again. So I'm just going to click recalculate, and it should be able to figure out who goes out and who goes in, and it does. That's great. Okay, so let's keep going. And just fill, oops, don't fill those in yet. We need to add 1, 2, 3 loop cuts. So 1, 2, 3, and I just scrolled up 3 times on the scroll wheel on my mouse. I don't know what you do if you have one of those 3D mice. They might be the same. I don't have one. They're insanely expensive, or more expensive than I really want to pay for a mouse. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's click smooth and see what it looks like. You can already see kind of a crease here, which is not that bad because you're gonna be trying to put a crease in here anyway. So that's pretty sweet. I may bring this down a bit more, so just hit double tap G and it'll come right down. Okay, so we have most of that fender looking pretty good. Let's keep working up on this front edge here. My voice is starting to get a little bit sore. Too much talking. Let's go ahead and bring this one down here. There we go. Maybe I can bring that down a little bit more. Yeah. And then we can bring this one down. There we go. And I guess we just bring this one around to the front. Just pull you down. There we go. Yep. Connect that there. It's looking pretty good. Now this front edge might be a little bit tricky. How do I want to do it? Let's try bringing this front edge down first and see how that meets up with this edge here. So I think we can take these 3 and just bring it down. So I'm gonna bring that down there, and then we can just connect these 4 like so. Now that looks pretty good. I'm not upset with that. And then I guess we can just break that there and have that guy come in like so. Maybe something like that. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna bring this out along the Y so it's a bit sharp. And let's see. Yeah, we can pull this in along the X, pull that out along the X, and then we can just keep building from there. And really, I think this is gonna go okay. How does that look? Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. And so now we have this line, which kind of continues down and around. It's not as long as our crazy set of edges here. I mean, that's great and kind of insane. It's a nice body line. It's doing a good job. I'm pretty pleased with that. So anyway, let's finish up on this front here. So I'm gonna take... Oh, that's way over. Yeah. Yes, it's supposed to be. Okay, let's turn that back on. I'm gonna turn off our extra one there. And I'm gonna hit Shift D right there. And then let's pull that out. Look at the top view mode, or top view. That goes back pretty far. Wow. And we'll just kind of build this piece right now. Turn off clipping. That might help a bit. So this comes out a bit too far along the Y, so I'm going to pull that back. So it's supposed to be pretty well vertical. At least it looks like it is. Let's pull that over there. Subdivide that so we can pull. Too many options. Yeah. What is this edge doing? Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah. I think I want to get rid of this face right here and that little face right there. So delete those faces, and we can actually just hit Alt-M and close that up right there. And that's a bit easier to work on, I think. So yeah. Okay, I like that a bit more. And we can just pull... We could actually probably just close that if we wanted to. I think we want to. Cool. So now we have some really nice lines going on here. Yeah. That's a nice line. That's a good line. Okay. Okay. We're getting there. Somewhere. Okay. So, I guess we're just gonna finish up on this one right here. Oops. Turned on clipping. Let's turn that back on. There we go. Getting a bit tired. I'm gonna no, I'm not. I'm not gonna turn off the front view yet. I will eventually, so that we can see more of what we're doing. I think that will work. Then we can actually just pull this down. And there's a bit of work we gotta do here. It's gonna be... Oh, I guess it wasn't too bad. Hey, that's nice. Good job. Okay. So there we go. That's looking pretty good. Yeah. So what we should do, just like before, is actually put that protecting edge in here, and it really should just go all the way around to here. And we have a nice line for that already, sort of. Well, I'm going to pull these guys up. So double tap G, and then I'm just going to pull this one around. Let's see, let's pull you up. And this will just keep that edge going nicely. Okay, and see, yeah. So pull that down. And I mean, we could have it come up and over this wheel well and just go the entire length of the car. You don't have to. Let's do that for fun. Just for fun. Yeah. Sounds good. I'm going to pull this one back. Just finish it off. Or we could use the bridge loops. I'm just going to do that because it's fast and easy. Okay. So we have 4 there, and then yeah, I know I keep bringing that up. It's a bit tricky in here. If we pull this down, there we go. Pull that out. I mean, we can put it into the where the chrome grill thing goes over, because we won't really see it. This is just to kind of keep a nice sharp line through here. Yep. Okay. So I should probably clean this up a bit more right here. So let's bring that down. Yep. Okay. Okay. And then, what is this? Oh. I guess we connected the edges to the wrong thing. It's kind of a weird effect. We should probably make... oh man. Let's pull those out. That was kind of weird and unexpected. Yeah, it's a little complicated in through here. That's too sharp for my liking. I'm gonna pull that up. And then we can just use a smooth vertex operation. So yeah, we should probably just do that. Smooth vertex. Okay. So once you have that looking how you want it to, notice how easy that was to select all of those vertices. That's exactly what we want. We need to... I still don't like this. Right. Why do I not like it? Well, because it's actually supposed to be pretty much flat right through there. Okay. Yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna sharpen up some of these edges right through here. Shift E. There we go. So work on that until it looks good. Another thing that I recommend, what we should do is we should actually pull in most of these vertices along through here. We should pull them in so that it doesn't look like we're working with something that's completely paper thin. So just like on the hood piece, I'm going to pull those in. So let's turn that down. Can I turn down the mean crease all the way? Yeah, okay. Okay, so that's looking good. I'm going to take most of this upper part here and actually just hide it, so that way we can see kind of what's going on inside. Okay, so take that vertex. I'm going to pull that in just like so. Connect these guys like that. And then we can actually take this whole thing right here, except for that one, and pull it in along the Y. So E, Y, and then I'm going to turn the mean crease all the way down and connect that. That's a fairly long edge right there without much, many vertices in there. But I guess it works. What's going on there? That one looks gross. And then let's work on the inside of that headlight right there. So that, oops. Okay. So let's just scale that in. I'm going to put a mean crease around the outside loop there. And then let's turn off that. Turn on the other one so that we can figure out how much to scale this in by. And then I'm going to pull that back. Shift E. And there we go. So we got our headlight. We have a nice edge here. Well, we could actually tighten this one up a bit more. I think that would probably do it some good. And then if we want to tighten this up, well, first I'm going to S, Y, and then 0 so that they're even, and then Shift E, and that should tighten that up. And then I'm going to take the inner loop here, Shift E, just to tighten the whole thing up. So there we go. There. We should actually tighten that one up as well. So that will be up against the bumper. Okay, so we're going to finish up with some quick bumper work. Most of the work will be done over in the next tutorial, but we should probably start that right here. So I'm going to start with the most obvious part. It's kind of this bullet shape extrusion from the bumper, and then we will build off along the sides here. So let's go ahead and put our 3D cursor right there and add a I'm going to start with a circle, and I'm going to give it 7 vertices. And let's go ahead and yeah, I guess we're okay right now. Rotate by 90 degrees along the X, and let's scale that down. And that's way too far back. So pull it out. I'm going to pull that up right over to there and just pull that back to that point right there. Okay, and of course they're not matching, so I'm going to go down to our little front over here and we're going to pull it over along the X to get it to match. I'm going to hide our top there, and let's tab back into edit mode here. Okay. So now that that's kind of lined up, we can keep going and keep working at it. Oh man, nothing's lining up. This won't be easy. I can say that. So, from the top here, it kind of looks like this keeps coming back, whereas this piece kind of flattens out. So, I'll try to work with that, I guess. I'm going to pull down the front. We're going to use our artist's, I forget what the word is, but we can kind of mess around and try to get it to work better. Our own intuition. There we go. So we can kind of pull that around, and let's see. That comes down to here. It's a complex shape, so don't feel too discouraged. It isn't that easy. Let's see. I don't know. Okay. So that's kind of working out. I'm going to pull this down so it's more toward the middle, and we can pull this out along the Y. Kind of even that up. There we go. Okay. And I mean, this doesn't have to be perfect. You can keep working on it. Try to get this part fairly close though. So I'm going to center our 3D cursor here, hit period, and then take maybe the whole thing, yeah. And then Alt R, and we can rotate it like that. Get a nice smooth rotation, and I'll turn it down maybe to 3. So something like that, and that way we can get a nice smooth rotation without doing a whole lot of work. And then we can just pull this back, and then we'll dome that off at the end, but we'll do that later. For right now, I want to take this part, not the insides. There you go. And just bring that down maybe. Not right now. And then we can take this guy, or this section right here, and maneuver that. So let's pull this up, I guess, so that the bottom is even. Okay, and then this actually kind of works. Can I make that work? Nah. I'll just pull this one down. We have an extra vertex there, so get rid of that. And that kind of works right like that. Yeah, that's close. That's close. and then hit Control comma to go back into the normal median mode. So there we go. Just try to get that close as you can. And let's pull it over like so. Okay, so that's part of the bumper. We're not quite done because we need to pull this out. And actually, if we go into top view mode, that comes out a long way. So no. Let's delete those faces, and I'm going to take these faces here and hit Shift D to duplicate them, and I'm going to pull them all the way out to that right there. I'm going to throw in a loop cut right here and a loop cut here, pull those forward along the Y. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm just lining that up with this top view. And we'll do some extra work here and get that cleaned up a bit more. So there we go. And I'm not really sure how that's supposed to work. Let's bring that out, kind of curve it in, and I guess I'll just cap it right there. We can bring that out even further and make it more domed. There we go. Yeah, that's working. So I'm going to take these guys and pull them back along the Y so that we get a nice curve. And eventually this should all merge. So I'm going to hit Alt M and I'm just going to start merging these pieces. There we go. Okay, so that's starting to work out pretty decently, actually. Not too upset with it. We'll see how it comes out once we finish this up. So let's throw that in there. Throw that there. There we go. Oops. Okay, so let's take a look at that. And of course we got our normals going all wonky. So let's go ahead and refix all of that stuff. So recalculate, and it should make it all work nicely. These faces back here aren't actually necessary, so let's go ahead and get rid of those. So delete that face, those sets of faces, and then I'm just going to take these and I will extrude them back along the Y-axis, and eventually we need to reconnect that up in there. So pull that back along the Y. Let's go ahead and connect them together. There we go. I'm going to hide the hood because it's in the way. Take these SY0. Oops. So SY0 to line things up. Pull that back and just get it kind of evened out. There we go. There we go. So that's pretty good. Yeah. So I'm pretty well gonna finish off with, well, we can sharpen that up. Maybe throw in a nice mean crease right there. I don't know if I want that edge loop. Delete that edge loop, yeah. Okay. And then we can just maybe pull, what do I want to pull? And then forget that one. Then hit EZSZ0. Oops. I can't see my keyboard, so it's making hitting the right keys a little bit difficult, but there we go. Oops. Recalculate those normals, and let's check them. They're all facing the right direction. And then one last thing we should probably do is actually turn on a mirror modifier and get the origin all set properly. Because right now that's kind of a cool shape, but not what we want. So I'm going to unhide the hood and those pieces. So move that cursor to the selected, hit Control, Alt, Shift, and C, origin to 3D cursor, and that will move everything across. Move the mirror up above the subsurf subdivision, and then turn on clipping, pull that across, and there you go. It's a fairly simple bumper. We should probably pull it back so that it's actually on the car. And I mean, you can tighten things up a bit more, and more cleanup will be done. Yeah, this should actually be tightened up a bit more than it is. I don't like that. It's a little bit tricky in writing through here. So let's see. If we tighten that up, maybe that'll work a bit better. Yeah, that looks a bit better. We can also pull the bumper back a bit more. So in the next tutorials there will be more cleanup, so don't worry if this doesn't look that great quite yet. I mean, we can throw in some mean creases through here. Where is that? It's a little hard to see with all of these. Oops. Oh well. Yep, so there is a very rough bumper, and I will leave the rest for the next tutorial. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like it and subscribe. Otherwise, feel free to leave a comment.